Hello and welcome to the Minecraft Mod Spotlight featuring Agricraft. Today I will be discussing how to grow crops, improve your crops, mutate new crops, remove weeds, use irrigation systems, and grow resource crops, which is our ultimate goal with this mod. At the end of the video I will be going over modifications you may want to make to Agricraft. You can skip to that part of the video now by clicking on the annotation. So first, let's start with crops. These are the backbone of Agricraft. You'll want to place all your seeds in these in order to grow them. It is 4 sticks placed in a 2x2 grid, and you just place them by right clicking. You can place 2 on top of each other by right clicking twice. This will require 2 crops. So next, you're going to need to make yourself an agricultural journal. This is going to be 4 crops, 4 seeds of any type, and a book and quill. So your agricultural journal is actually very important. This journal will keep track of all of your mutations and help you by suggesting possible mutations that you might want to make as you progress through Agricraft. Finally, to get yourself going, you're going to need this. This is the seed analyzer. This is the brains of our Agricraft operations. It will tell you things like the growth, the gain, the strength, and tier of each plant. To use it, you just take some seeds. You'll just take all of these, and you can take them like so. You take your agricultural journal, put it in the spot denoted for it, and then just drop your seeds in. So all of your seeds will start out with a growth, gain, and strength of 1. So, what your growth, gain, and strength are, your growth is how quickly your plants will grow. Your gain is how much a yield you will have for your plants, and the strength is how resistant your plants are to weeds. Weeds are only going to be important if you choose to leave them on. So let's get into how to mutate your crops. And in order to do that, you can place your crops in a 4x4, well, 3x3 area in this sort of plus-shaped pattern. And in the middle, after they are matured, you take crops and you place them like so. And with any luck, which it seems we were in luck, you'll grow some here like so. Now, you will have to break the seeds and take them, and then you'll take the seeds here and you'll put them in your analyzer, and you will get, here, let's see here. Oops, one more. Okay, so you take these, you break it, you take the seeds like so, put it into your analyzer, put these up here. Okay, so now we have a growth of 3, gain of 1, and strength of 3. So your crops will increase in their capacity to produce, and you just go through to continue making these better. Because the max stats are 10, you can just take one of these and you place your crop down, and then you put your seeds down, and then you just grow them back up and you start the process again. See here, bone meal, throw that away. Okay, so that is how you improve the quality of your plants. Next, you can mutate your plants. Now, mutating your plants is actually really easy, but it may take some patience. It depends on the kind of plants, and if you have weeds active, then even more so. So here I have 2 wheats and 2 carrots. I find that this is the optimal way to set it up. You'll place 2 crops down like so, and then patience. Now, I don't know how long this will take, but I think this is important to note that what this will yield is sugarcane, and sugarcane only grows on sand blocks, because some crops will only grow on specific blocks, and this gets a little bit more complicated as you get up through the resource crops, but I'll get into that later. So take a look at one of these tools here. This is actually a handy tool. This right here is a magnifying glass, and suppose you don't remember, like, this says crops, like, oh, okay, how useful. But if I right click on it with a magnifying glass, I can see that I have a seed right here with growth 1, gain 1, and strength 1. If I come over here, this is my 313 crop. So you can just sort of quickly glance at the different qualities of your plants in case you forget, instead of having to break it, pick up the seed, look at it, and plant it again. That can also use up a lot of your bone meal and patience if you do that. So there are actually some more tools, because specifically pertaining to this is weeds. Weeds are quite a hassle. So what do you do about all these weeds? Well, one of the main options, you can break the crops and replace your crops down, and that will get rid of the weeds, but they will just come back. They will always just come back. That's not something you can ever deal with, but like that. But you can, well, kind of use this rake here to take them away. And the rake is actually really easy. You just a fence and a stick, and that makes your rake, and you just doop doop doop, and then it gets rid of the weeds. Easy as that. Another tool that I think this is the last tool is going to be a trowel. Trowels are useful for, suppose you just needed to get this plant somewhere else. Whether it be into conditions that the plant can't grow in, because if you use a magnifying glass, it says right there, this plant is fertile and can grow. There are times when a plant can't grow. For instance, if it's too dark. If you put it into a dark room, the plant can't grow in dark conditions. There are some plants that require dark conditions, and in order to mutate them, you may need two plants that like live in light conditions, and you can take both of those plants, put them down in crops like so, and then mutate it in the middle in a dark room, and you won't have to worry about them being grown up to mature, because they'll already be mature. So kind of works around that little problem. So next in line we have irrigation. So this is a wooden water tank, and you can make it with just like any wood block will work. It has to be wood planks of whatever block, and it will change depending on the kind of wood plank. So if we like come over here, you can see that you can have different colors of wood, and they do not link together specifically. Like only oak will go with oak, and only like spruce will go with spruce. Same with the channels. The channels can be dependent on the types of wood, and you put them in the shape like a bowl. If you download Agricraft, it will automatically make it so that bowls are crafted using half slabs. So you just put half slabs and it'll be like that, and you'll get a bowl. And if you put full planks like this, you'll get irrigation channels. You get 6 of them. So the way we use these is, if we come up here, you just place them in any sort of rectangular shape, and then at any height you'd like. You can make them as tall as you want and as wide and long as you want, and you put water into them. So water can be put into it through buckets. Each tank will hold 8 buckets of water, and they will also fill up with rainwater. And if you look closely, you can actually see the water fills up the water tank very slowly. It's actually really quite interesting, like fun to watch for me anyway. And more interesting, you can actually use these channels to connect to more tanks. So if you needed to like connect a few different tanks together, and you had one big tank with like a really big top on it to collect water, and you wanted to give it to, you know, taller tanks that can store more water, you can do so just by like using channels, and they will send the water between each other, so it'll fall down, cascade. Let's switch that back to day. So, but yes, you can place, let's see here. Oh, if you break a block, it will put a water block down in its place. It doesn't matter how full, any amount of water will be fine. It'll replace it with, oops, get out of there, chicken. It'll replace it with a water source block, so. But you can make them any size you want, and it has to be rectangular, so I can go over here and make this longer, as long as these are empty of water, and it'll just make it longer like that. Same with this, you just do that and it'll make it longer. So, and this is the same size that I was using up here. So yeah, Lastly, this is kind of useless for your crops. You need a sprinkler to actually use it, and this is how you make it. So you have a planks block, iron ingot, bucket, and iron bars on either side, and that will get you this. And let me take that. So here I have a mostly full water tank, and we have this channel coming out here, and I'm going to attach this. Now, interesting thing to note, so I have this having water right there. You don't actually need a water source block to feed your crops when you have a sprinkler on them. They can do a 7x7 area just the same way that a water block can, which is really handy if... I'm not entirely sure exactly why it would be handy, but there, you know, it works. And I will say the really particularly handy thing about this is that it increases the ticks of your plants. So your crops will grow faster. You don't have to wait quite so long to have to grow them, which is really handy. Another thing, suppose you're kind of stingy about your water, or there's a crop area that you just don't need covered, you can actually turn off the water going to it using this. This is a wooden channel valve, and you just attach a lever to it and it'll just close it and open it. So I'm just going to leave it open. So yeah, and this will just increase the speed that your plants will grow. So if we just take this and we put that in there, maybe it'll grow quickly, maybe it won't, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, see, that was pretty fast. So lastly, I need to cover resources. So resources are pretty much the only reason to do Agricraft, honestly. I mean, you can grow it to like produce potatoes really fast or carrots really fast if you really just want like loads of potatoes, but that's not really interesting. You can actually grow redstone, lapis, iron, this drops iron nuggets, gold, diamond, which drops in the form of nuggets, as well as emerald nuggets. And these can be crafted in a 9x9 or 3x3 square. You need 9 of them, and then you can craft these into there. This will make an ingot, these will make diamonds, and this will make an emerald. And again, noting that you can place certain blocks, or certain plants, they have to be placed on certain other blocks. These have to be planted with their particular block. Oops, oh no, let's go back up. Bedrock. These have to be planted with their block beside or underneath of them. They have to have some sort of source block, to, like essentially to give them their particular resource. So you kind of need silk touch for some of these, like redstone and diamond and emerald, but you can get iron and gold, and like without it. The problem is you do need redstone and lapis lazuli to make iron and gold, so you're gonna need some sort of silk touch to even begin doing this. So it's a little bit later in the game, but it will definitely save you time if you really don't like going resource hunting like I don't. So there you go. That's should be everything. So stick around for the second half and I'll explain how you can get these resource crops working and get rid of these weeds, which are completely unnecessary in my personal opinion. Okay, so now it's time for the part of the video where I tell you how to make your Agricraft give you all the plants that you desire. Specifically resource crops. Those will not will not be set up to grow with Agricraft unless you turn them on. It's by default turned off. As well as weeds, you may want to turn them off. It would be preferable, as well as plenty of other ways of modifying Agricraft. So the easiest way for me to do this, you can get to your Minecraft folder however you like, but the easiest way for me is I just go to my game directory like that, drag this down here. So then you're going to go to config, not mods, config. Then there's going to be an Agricraft folder. You're just going to click on that, and then in here you're going to see a few different things. Mutations is actually very helpful. You can use it so that you have a list of all the possible mutations. If you don't have NEI mod installed, this will be an easy way for you to see all the different all the different mutations for the plants, so that you can kind of cheat your way to kind of getting the right order. Otherwise, you're kind of randomly throwing yourself like in certain directions without really any clear direction. So, but to add the resource crops, you're going to open up the configuration.config file, and then it's going to have all of these, and they're going to say false or true or have some number here, and these are important. All of these like variables have some sort of effect in the game. So for instance, this one, the number of crops you get for crafting operation crops per craft, 1. And you can increase that between 1 and 4, as it says right here. That's the range, and it defaults to 1. So, but if we scroll down, where is it? Resource crops. So set true if you wish to enable resource crops. Default, false. So I set mine to true. You should probably set yours to true. That will allow resource crops. And we scroll up a little bit, you'll see somewhere, set to false if you wish to disable weeds. Okay, so it defaults to true. I'm just gonna edit mine and set it to false. Another useful one for filling up your irrigation, there's one, I believe, that allows for flowing blocks of water to fill it up. So if you just like leave a block, well, a source block, and then it'll just flow, that will fill it up. So you don't have to constantly use buckets, and it kind of creates an infinite source of water. I mean, water is not too rare in any case. Well, that should be everything. Good luck and have fun!